This is, of course, the great Bill Bailey. Welcome, Bill. Lovely to see you.
Hey, thank you, Ryan. It's lovely to be here.
Congratulations on My Animals and Other Animals, a memoir of sorts. Why the of sorts? Talk to me a bit about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I put that in because it's not your traditional memoir, in as much that it's like a kind of a linear canter through your whole life, starting when you're born until the current the moment at which you're writing. I didn't want it to be that. So the animals element of it is a kind of framework on which to hang the memoir. So stories about my life kind of go off and tangents at points in my life when we had a certain pet or when I had an encounter with a wild animal. So it's really it is a memoir, as I say, but it's not your traditional memoir. It's a memoir told through the medium of animals.
Animals. I was talking to another guest not too long ago, and he was talking about the cats. He's had about X amount of cats in his life, and that he used the word pivotal moments in your life.
Yeah,
he was able to kind of almost document his life through the cats.
Yeah.
And I think this is what you've done here through encounters with various animals. Now, if you look at the pet, for example, the cat or the dog, now you've a menagerie, so you've got a multiple choice there.
Yeah.
But these animals, these creatures, these friends become part of the family and become very much part of your story.
Yeah. Well, they do because, I mean, if you look back at, photos as sometimes we do, and of course now, these days with our smartphones, the phones will suddenly curate a little capsule of time from your life, and suddenly it will just appear on your phone. But as we've done over the years, look back and you look at a pet and you think, that was Rocky, that was that time, and that was then. And animals tend to sort of be like milestones in your life. The times that you spent with them, you can identify. Well, it's like music, I guess, in another way. The music takes you back to a certain point in your life. Same with pets.
You mentioned Rocky. Is that an accident, I wonder, or is that because you had a Rocky?
We had a Rocky, yeah. Rocky the dog was a magic dog.
Tell me about Rocky.
He was a Patterdale Terrier, which is from an area in the Lake District, and he was kind of black and tan. He's a sort of, stocky little terrier size magic dog, absolutely just loyal to a fault, dog determined, loved his tennis ball, he loved his grub. He was a fantastic dog, and he was brilliant to exercise because you throw the ball for him and he'd just bring it back wherever it went, and he'd just keep doing it. And like I say in the book, until you got tired, it got dark, or society gradually unravelled. Western world collapsed, and he'd be still there going, "No, come on, throw the ball." And he was a brilliant dog, and he lived to a ripe old age of 20, which is an amazing innings for a dog.
You've been describing a mate, not a dog.
Yeah.
I mean a pal.
I know. He was a pal, and that's the thing. They become part of your lives, I mean, I was devastated. We all were. We were completely distraught when he left us, even though that day's going to come, because they're with you every minute of every day, and they become like almost embedded in your family, sometimes more than your own relatives, which they might not live with you, and so you might not, you see them occasionally. The dog's there every day, and they're, it's true that they empathise with you. You get all the unconditional love, but also they're very grounding, I think, with dogs. Whatever you're thinking about, the dog's just looking at you. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Never mind what you're going through. I need to go for a walk now. So I think they're quite good in keeping you grounded.
Bill, we were chatting away about dogs as distractions and friends. Yeah. There's a quote I took from your book, which was that you said, "We're just the lucky winners in the evolutionary lottery. We are their animals' cousins, after all." Talk to me about that. Yeah.
Well, just barring a few genetic mutations over the eons of time, we do share a lot of our DNA with animals, and we're, as I say, we are the lucky winners. I actually did a DNA test, one of those things, It was for the
Who do you think you are
Geographic,
type thing. Yes.
And what's a great amusement with my family, it turns out I'm part Neanderthal, so I've got quite a bit of Neanderthal in me, good sort of
good heritage,
2.4% or something like that, to which they went, "Oh, only 2.4. I thought it would have been more, your general innate clumsiness." But I just think there was a sort of, in a way, it was one of those curious things that you think, well, that would be interesting, wouldn't it, to sort of find out about those things? But actually, it ended up being, I felt quite emotional about it because you realise what commonality we have with everyone. You know, like we all sort of flowed out of Africa, and then different tribes went different directions.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
actually, we share this amazing sort of thing, this amazing, DNA, and we're kind of, it makes you feel like we're all part of something, and I think that's what made me sort of feel that it was greater than just a sort of a kind of academic exercise.
Of course.
It was like quite an emotional thing of like, oh, well, yeah, we are all connected.
It's an existential revelation.
Yeah.
I also think Professor Noel Fitzpatrick talks about the humanimals.
Yeah.
I mean, there is an element of that about it too.
Yeah.
How important are rescue dogs, do you think, in the world?
Well, we've had many rescue dogs, and I think there's something about them that when you get a rescue dog, and anyone who's had one will know, you don't quite know what you're taking on. There'll be some quirk about them which you'll find out in the course pretty quickly.
Probably related to a trauma of some sort.
Yeah,
sadly,
something's happened to them. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
It could be a loud noise, or it could be you move your hand in a certain way and they'll cringe. But there's something about them which I've found they make fantastic pets. They make wonderful companions because partly because they've had a rough start in life, and they really appreciate the home comforts even more than maybe say another dog, kind of a thoroughbred who's just I was expected I'd have a bed and I'd have walks and nice food, and these dogs are like, oh thank God, I've made it, I've won, I'm in a house, so I'll be good,
I'm so grateful.
Exactly.
It's funny, I came across, I had a food coffee truck or whatever in Dublin, and this dog, it was somebody else's dog, but it was a couple with this beautiful dog. But the dog was so full of character. I had to say, can I ask? Because the dog was just short of introducing itself. Yeah. And what's your dog called? And she said, it's a Polish word, which I can't remember, but it translated as crayon. And I said, it's funny you should call your dog Crayon because it looks like a dog that a child would draw. Yeah. Do you know that? And she said, that's why we call it, because it's just such an obvious dog. Yeah. But so much character. The dog was looking around and nervous, but still, loads of character.
Loads of character. Yeah, we've had many dogs. I talk about one in particular in the book, Tiger, and he was a rescue, and he was one of those dogs. He was an odd-looking creature. He had a look of. He was always had this mournful expression on his face, this kind of look of like, oh, well, I just guess this is what's just happening to me now, and I've just got to get on with it. And he had a weird shape as well. His back sort of sagged in the middle, a bit like a cow, and he had these sort of spindly legs and a tail that drooped down, and I don't know what he was. He was a mix of various things, and he just had this very low kind of woof, which was so low and mournful that other dogs would back off. Like they just, I don't know what he's like. He's just weird. Just, you know what I mean? He's like the weird dog.
Yeah,
leave him alone. He's too weird.
Yeah.
And we just fell in love with him. And he was a project. We wanted to kind of get through to him.
He has his own charm.
He had his own charm.
How did he end up? Did you break through?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, great.
I persisted, as I do with so many of these animals. I kind of kept playing. Come on. And I throw the ball, and he just looked at me like, "What are you doing that?" It's out of pity. And I go, "Come on." And eventually, he put his two legs down at the front in the play bow, and that was it. I got him.
Oh, you found it.
I got him. And then that was it. He was a lovely dog, very charming, good-natured, but he was an oddball.
Before we go, and who doesn't love an oddball, by the way? But before we go, Thoughtifier, tell us about that. I know it's massive. Thoughtifier, billbailey.co.uk for details, but as a show, what can we expect? Yeah,
this is a show. There's a lot of music in it. There's it's really about the history of human endeavour, thought, philosophy, music, and all points in between. Lots of personal recollection, lots of music along the way. It's basically the kind of the things which I guess it started as a reaction to this existential fear of AI taking over.
Yes.
And I just wanted to say, to celebrate human achievement and human kind of brilliance, because it's a sort of rebuttal of that and saying, look, no, it won't. It can't possibly replicate what we do. Every night I ask the audience to sing in harmony. And then this is, a random group of people who will never be together in that room ever again. And yet every night this amazing thing happens that gets hairs on the back of my neck.
Great. Is it a particular song, or is it?
It's a harmony. I'm singing a sea shanty which I've written, and so I get them to sort of harmonise.
Lovely.
So it's about that really, and there's a lot of visuals in the. I've got a Bill Bailey chatbot, which is obviously useless, and I've got various characters that I play in AI form. Plus, there's a lot of music in it, and there's a lot of. I've learned a couple of instruments for that. I've learned the bagpipes, and there's a laser harp in the show.
Of course there is. I mean, what else would there?
Wouldn't expect anything else.
Bill, I'm looking forward to seeing the show in real life. Thoughtifier at tickets at billbailey.co.uk, and also your beautiful book, My Animals and Other Animals, out now. Come and see us again sometime, please.
I would.
Lovely to see you.
I'd love to.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks.